The band started out in 2007 with me, Brian, and Joey Dollander, which is a past member we had. And I kind of just started jamming with them, and eventually just kind of went from there.
Throughout the years, like after the first year, we decided to part ways with Joey and Logan, and we just made that mutual split, and we got Walter on board, because he was a good friend of ours. I knew him through high school, and after a while, we eventually got a new bass player. We actually played our first 2 shows without a bass player, and it sucked with Walter, and we got Chris, which I've known since like kindergarten. So that was an easy fit.
I've known Carlos and Walter since high school. Same with Alex. Bola and I were actually in a band a long time ago. And Brian actually went to elementary school with.
We all went to the same high school. We all played in different bands. And, we just never really thought we'd be in the same band because we all played very different genres.
I joined in about December of 2009. They had parted with their old frontman, and they were looking for a new frontman. So I knew them from high school already, and I was in previous bands with a couple of them. So I recorded vocals on one of their songs and sent it in, and they had me coming back to record a few more songs and stuff, and then eventually it just became official.
For Creations, the writing duties were pretty much split up between me and Brian. I'd show up with a riff, he'd show up with a riff, and even for a couple of breakdowns, Carlos would have an idea, like a certain rhythm, and he'd be like, yeah, we'll maybe the guitar's lock in with the kick, and then he'll play the rhythm.
I remember when I first joined the band, Walter and Brian and Carlos were all doing pre-production for the songs that were going to be on the CD, and man, it has come a long way since then.
Our old vocalist, me and him sat down and we were writing out this concept that Creations is based on, and each story basically has a different chapter and a different feeling. So, for the first song, it had more of a militaristic, invasion type feel, and me and Brian would just sit down with Carlos and we would just think up of different chords, different chord changes, the kind of tempos that we could use, the rhythms.
There was a concept that Walter had written where my lyrics can fit to it per se, but my lyrics are very personal still at the same time. I wrote them about struggles that I go through that maybe the main character could have gone through also, but it's just typical struggles that most people go through.
Recording with Misha, man, what a privilege that was. The guy is, amazing at what he does, and really thankful for having him there for us to, work his magic.
That guy's a phenomenal guitar player, and there's no ego to that dude. Completely modest, easy to work with, and what he had to say was so insightful, and I really look up to the guy, and he just really helped structure our band and just made it what it sounds today.
Really interesting story. I was on Craigslist looking for an 8th string, and I ended up buying one from Walter. It was totally random, and the day that I went to pick it up, we just started talking about music, and he told me I had a band, and that they were recording a demo or an EP or something like that. I was like, hey, well, I produce bands, and he'd already said that he was a fan of my work over email when we were talking on Craigslist. So I was like, hey man, well, I should produce it for you, and just one thing led to another, and many sweet dates later, well, you know how the rest goes.
It was very inspiring watching Misha work. Basically, the process was we showed him the songs, and he's the kind of producer that's very hands-on. He's not just the kind of guy who presses record and just stops and just sits at the desk and just waits.
It was probably one of the most hands-on projects because partially they were really open to my ideas. I like to be as hands-on as a band wants or requires of me. So I wrote a ton of riffs, I rearranged the songs, I tracked a lot of stuff, which is cool. It's I always say, I like to be almost the extra member in the band. To bands that welcome me, obviously I won't force myself on anything, and at the end of the day they're paying, so like it's whatever they want. But it's more like we saw eye to eye on a lot of things, so my input was welcome, and it just made for a really like easy process. So it was a lot of fun, really. We just got to create, rewrite or write on the spot, and they're really easy guys to work with too. So it was a lot of fun. I hadn't really ventured into this style of music so much. It's more like, it's not entirely deathcore, but it's definitely that vibe. But I could see that like from the stuff that we were doing, they're definitely trying to sort of base around that, but use it as like sort of a departure point to explore more. Like their riffs, if anything, I found were really catchy. And they weren't so much about being technical, which I think is what a lot of people focus on, but about sounding good, which is something that I really like. And we worked with their flow a lot, but they've been doing that too. It's like flowing logically, having arrangements that are like really solid and tight that sound like all the riffs belong in the same song. And they're getting better and better at that. But like that's stuff that we worked on, and like I really think the EP came out awesome. Like it's really, really just catchy, and I really mean that in a good way. But I enjoy listening to the songs a lot. They did an awesome job. They should be really proud. I think if they keep on, branching off in their directions and sort of finding their own sound, they'll have like a nice bright future in front of them.
My influences are very wide. I have a huge range. I love pop punk. I love jazz, smooth jazz. I love metal. It's just way too many for me to name. But I'm probably, out of all of the guys in the band, I probably listen to the most pop punk or poppy, stuff like that.
I'm a huge 80s metal junkie. I love all that stuff. Eddie Van Halen. But as far as, input in the band goes, I think all of us would look up to bands like After the Burial and Periphery and stuff like that.
In terms of my influences, like I would say maybe Periphery, just like more progressive kind of style, and I like heavier influences, but not to say that I don't like catchy stuff either.
I have a weird way of liking my vocals in bands. Like, I really like the tone of old Sky Airplanes vocalist Jerry Roush, but I like the flow of like Fell Silence vocalists and a lot of like gent vocalists. But I like that like yell kind of scream, and I don't know, I just take influence from that a lot.
Personal musical influences of mine, I guess. Most of them would actually be, Sumerian bands. After the Burial, Veil of Maya, Periphery. I guess we borrow a little bit of that, but there's a big hardcore scene in this area, and as much as we do play metal, it has influenced us a lot. Like kids go crazy at shows. We had one guest vocalist on the album. His name was Alex McCurdy. He's actually a really close friend of mine.
We always write stuff, whether it's band related or non-band related. So I was always there for even when their first vocalist Greg was in the band, helping them write out vocal patterns, melodic vocals, and even lyrics. So when we recorded the first version, him and I would sit down and write out the harmonies and all that stuff together, and then I would always do the pre-pro. And the plan was always to find someone to do the vocals for the album, but I guess they never found anybody, and they just used the vocals that I did in the demos. For the song Nature Monsters, I generally always sing live for that. Whenever I'm there, Mo is more than willing to collab on stage and everything. It's always a lot of fun, and I guess it was really cool today seeing all the kids singing along, knowing all the words to that chorus, that hook. It's just surreal.
These days are growing cold again. Into the fallen land we fall right in. Before I alter my demands with dark intent, how can I make you understand?
Tonight is our EP release show. We're really excited for it because we're waiting for this for so long. We wanted This Time I Swear to play just because they're really good guys. They're very talented dudes, and we're really good friends with Scott. He's also helped us out a lot with teaching us a lot of stuff, how to set up merch, stuff like that.
Favorite song to play live would either have to be Before the Devil Knows You're Dead or Time Left, just because got a lot of cool bass stuff going on.
I think the new one. I like playing this new one. We don't have a name for it. I think for right now we're calling it Raffle Balls.
Time Left, I get to do a little bit of lead work in there, and we just started actually playing his new song. It's called Occurrences. Tonight's actually going to be the first night we play it live.
Either Explorations or Nature of Monsters.
As of today, it'll probably be Raffle Balls, which is not really named yet, but that's what we're naming it for now.
I like them a lot. You know, they got a good sound. You know what I'm saying? Cool guys.
I love Explorations.
Time Left. Just the whole CD, honestly.
The whole thing's really good. I love everything about it.
It's good instrumentals, good vocals, and it was really well produced. Everybody get their EP.
Buy it. It's really good.
That Jones hot.
A year ago, looking at us now, I'm really happy with where we're at. You know, we're taking our time. We're doing things the right way. You know, 2 years from now, I hope to be, touring a lot more, writing new music, possibly be signing into a record label. I don't know. You know, when the right label comes our way, I guess we'll know that.
We're working really hard to hopefully within a year have another EP out and hopefully be touring a little bit more full time or maybe close to full time. Definitely every couple months, do something, but try to stay on the road as much as possible.
I want to get signed, but I'm not expecting anything. But that's what I want to. I want to get signed. I want to tour. Like I said, I want to work hard, and this is what I want to do. I just see us just doing more of the same thing that we're doing.
As far as the rest of the guys, we're all pretty dedicated. We're hoping to get signed, hoping to start touring a lot more.
I like to see the band going far. We all have the same ethic and the same drive to do it. There's no reason why in my eyes, there's no reason why we shouldn't if we continue to work as hard as we are. And that's all we're really gonna keep doing, just working.